morning everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. It's Carol here at Aakash Journals, and I'm going to be doing the penultimate guest check in the 50 stack challenge. And if the challenge is new to you, then look in the description box below the video, because there's a link there to Amy's channel, or Crafty Cat as she's known on YouTube, and you can find out a bit more about this challenge, plus also the second challenge, the 50 stack challenge 2 that Amy has just started. When we started the 50 stack challenge, or when I started the 50 stack challenge, I made up my mind that I would not look at what anybody else has done for the prompts, or how they've interpreted the prompts, so that I wouldn't be influenced. The only person I have watched is Amy each week when she has chosen the prompts and also altered her to guest checks. But the prompt for this one, guest check number 49, that really had me stumped for ages, I have to say. The prompt for this one is ruffle, and the only thing I could think of was to do a paper or a fabric ruffle on my piece, or to do a ruffle rose or flower style embellishment on my piece. I couldn't think of anything else. I was toying with the idea of using an old Elizabethan dress image, and because of the flamboyant neck pieces, I was thinking that maybe I could alter one of those and add lace around the neckline, but I've decided against that. What I have come up with is perhaps a little bit of artistic license for this one. I was thinking about ruffles, and basically they are a piece of fabric or lace or paper, and they're just gathered or ruched up. And I was thinking that I could do something like that with my guest check, but not actually do it in the usual way that we do it, where we get a strip and we ruffle it up using stitching or something like that. So I am going to incorporate some form of ruffle on my piece, whether I use this piece of lace. This is really soft, it's white, it's probably not the best colour with my background, but I can always tea dye this or coffee stain this as I need it if I decide to use it. This is another gorgeous piece. Now this is almost like a dusky rose, or even a Victorian rose. Now this, as you can see, is organza, and that has been pre-ruffled, so I might use this. The other piece that I've got is a true vintage piece, and I think this is probably from some upholstery. The fabric is not particularly thick. That might be nice on my piece depending on how it finishes up, and it's not a uniform colour all the way through. It's quite dark here if I show you that, but if I go to the other end, obviously if I put the two together, you'll be able to see that at the other end it's quite faded, so that might blend in better on my piece. I don't know. So I've lifted out these three pieces, and they're going to be the option that I pick from, or the options that I pick from for putting a ruffle on my piece. But I also thought that I would ruffle my paper, and you'll see what I mean in a moment. And to do that, I've got this gorgeous document here. It is a vintage document, and it's almost sacrilege to use it, but I am going to today. So to start with, I need my piece of paper to be double-sided. So I've got this, and I'm going to open it up and turn it round. I've got a fold along the bottom here now, which isn't really important, but I want this stamp, sorry, if I turn it round, I want this stamp to be on my piece, roughly down in this location down here. Now I know that this is going to be the right length for my piece. It's higher than I want, and I do want a small border. All I've done with my documents is to create some folds the width of my guest check, making sure that this stamp, which is what I want down in this corner, is on the top fold. And as you can see, I've done mountain fold, valley fold, mountain fold, so that will go onto my guest check like that. And I have this portion at the back here which isn't the width of my guest check, because you can see it doesn't go all the way across. Now, I don't want to waste any of this document, but I do want to create a small hinge for the back of my guest check. So what I'm going to do is to take away, if I just open this up so that you can see, I'm going to take away about 1.5 inches from this edge of my document. I'm going to take away probably about 1.5 inches so that I'm leaving myself about 1 centimetre here, which is my last fold. So I'm just going to do that with my ruler. There we go. I've just, as you can see, opened up the top portion of my document. I'm going to flip it round just so that it's a little bit easier for me to work, and I'm going to use my ruler, and I'm just going to roughly tear a portion away, maybe a little bit more, but just the top layer. Now, you don't have to do that. If you're following along, you could tear the whole of this away, but I just want to save as much of this document as I can, because it's gorgeous. So this little portion here will become my hinge. I'm also going to take away, if I show you, there's my document and there's my little hinge. I'm also going to take away this portion here, which is, if I show you, this portion here, that's where the fold is. I'm going to take away this portion, but not on the front piece, on the back piece. And this is again because I want to save as much of this document as I can. So to do that, I'm going to open up my document. That's where my fold is there. So I'm just going to reinforce that fold so I can see. And I want to rip away a portion that is just inside. I'm not going right into that fold, I'm going slightly inside it towards the hinge side, and I'm just going to tear down there like that. I'm going right up to that crease at the bottom, and I've saved myself a portion here. Now I will be using this in a moment or two, so let me fold this back up and you can see what this looks like now. So if I open it out, that's what it looks like on the front, and if I flip it over, that's what it looks like on the back, and this is where my fold line is. So I've got a little bit of extra paper there. The reason I've got that paper there is because I want to back this bit where I've taken the paper away. I want to add some, so I've just got a scrap here of lightweight paper, and I am going to glue that onto this little scrap here that I've left. So I'm just going to do that. There we go. I have glued my piece of paper in place, and it looks like this if I open out the document, and that's what it looks like on the reverse. So effectively all I've done is I've replaced this piece that I've chopped out of the document, or chopped from the document, with this piece. And the reason I've done that is because I want to reinforce this piece of paper here, but also save this piece of paper. Okay, so my hinge is still in place there, and that will go over there like that. And my piece concertinas like that. This bit I haven't glued down, and even though I want to reinforce this front portion of my document, I'm not going to glue this in place because there is, or there may well be, some portion of this that I can actually save, or some of this from the original document that I can actually save without having it backed like that. So for now I am just going to leave it as it is. I'm just going to hold both sheets together, including the backing there, and I'm just going to tear across my document. And there we go, and that gives me quite a substantial amount of this document left over which I can use. And this is how my piece will look Now I can glue this portion in place. I'm just going to add a dab of glue along this inside edge here to close it up, because I want a pocket, not a tuck spot there. Using one of the leftover pieces, I want to cover up this portion of the guest check. And what I'm thinking is I'm going to try and match up the writing. So I'm thinking that works really well. So I'm just going to chop that out. I just realised as I was gluing this scrap on to make the background that I can't actually glue it all the way on without putting my hinge in place from this piece. So that's what I've done. I've just glued down here, and this part is partially glued. So I'm now going to just glue the rest of it on like that. Sorry, I wasn't thinking when I was doing that earlier bit. And now I'm just going to cut this scrap piece away. That background piece is now secured in place. It's glued and dry, almost dry, and trimmed to size. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue down this edge here on this reinforced piece. Only a little bit, because I'm going to stitch in a second or two. So I'm just putting a little dab in there. And I'm going to close that up now. Open this out. Just give that glue a little bit of a burnish to help it to settle. And of course I could have put a dab of glue down this end, but I've got the fold there, so I'm not bothered about that. Now I'm going to take this to my machine, and I'm going to stitch all the way around the outside of the guest check. Then I'm going to fold it over, and I'm going to, if I take this bit away, I'm going to stitch all the way down here, along here and up here. And then on this portion, I'm going to stitch down there, along the bottom and up. And that is going to give me a line of stitching on each side of my fold. So I'm going to go away and do that, and I'll bring it back and let you have a look before we go on to the next stage. This piece is stitched now, and if I open it up, you can see that's what it looks like on the actual guest check itself. And I've tried to match up the direction and the lines of the writing so that it almost looks like a little hidden pocket there. And then this is the second flap, and then that's the last flap. And as you can see here, I've torn away a little bit of the paper on this front side on both of these two pockets, and I've just rolled it a little bit to distress it. I'm not going to ink it because I don't want this particularly to look grungy if I can help it. So that's what it looks like on the front, and then obviously when you open it up like that, you've got space here to do whatever you want to do. And I thought that I would do a little bit of collaging in here, so I've taken that stamp from the top of the document here. I've just ripped it off, so I'm going to use that. I've lifted out of my scrap box some bits and bobs that I thought I might use. I just have these two pieces left of this beautiful paper. I've used them in a previous project, and I just had a couple of pieces left, and I think this was Kaisercraft paper. I'm not sure. It's white on the reverse, and as you can see, I've embossed it. So I thought I would use these to keep it nice and soft and delicate. So I was thinking I'd put a piece across that corner down there and use this one on the bigger portion. I've got a bit of handmade paper here that's just been torn, and no, that one's not big enough, so it could go behind this one just to soften up that top edge. I'm not making a tuck spot, I'm just making a little embellishment down in that corner just to take away this plain bit that I've got going on down there. So I'm thinking something like that. I'm keeping this edge and this edge straight because I'm butting it up against the stitching, and then probably have that just going across the corner with that torn edge there, and just something like that I think I'll have, if I can get it to go. I think it'll fit. So I'm just going to put a dab of glue on this top piece, but behind, so that I can glue this piece in place and then trim away anything else that I don't need. Something like that. Trim those little pieces away. Where's my scissors? Trim that bit away. So I'm quite liking that, and this has got shades of white and brown and pink and then a darker brown, and I think that adding this little bit blends it into this creamy coloured paper a little bit better, and this rough sort of edge here will marry up with that. I could almost have that as a tuck spot, couldn't I really? I might do that. Yeah, I'm going to do that. So I can have that as a little tuck spot if I want, like that. Just wondering about that across the bottom, and actually I'm liking that, so I'm going to pop that down there. Again, I'm just having it up from the bottom. Now I'm going to see what I can do with the other side. So I've got some handmade paper there. This is in a nice brown. I've got bottom of a document here. There's my seal, and then this is a bit of a collage that I've done at some stage. I'm definitely going to use that in the opposite corner. I want to pick up the same colour tones. I'm liking that there's a little flower on there, so I could put that across as it is, but I don't like this butterfly, so I'm going to take that away, and that can live for another day. So maybe something like, I'm not bothered that it's got a rough edge down there. This edge isn't straight, so I might straighten that up. And what can we do? That can go in there. Let me just straighten that edge up, it's bothering me. Liking that, obviously that's taller. So I'm wondering if I pop this behind. Well, that will work. Let's try it the other way. The reason I want to try it the other way is because that's going to be quite a delicate edge. I've obviously done some die cutting. I'm wondering if this torn edge might be a bit sturdier. Let's try it over the top. And that is giving me some detail down there. It's standing out quite a bit, so I'm wondering whether I can use those numbers across there and break up that big expanse of brown. Let me show you. Big expanse of brown there, and I think I can. I can almost move that across like that. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. I've finished collaging, and if I put it on my piece, it's a pretty big pocket, I'm thinking there. It is hidden by this one, but I'm actually wondering about folding it and taking away a little bit of that seal, and let me just pop it on the bottom there. Just having it across the bottom, it's going to be much more subtle if I do that than if I create a big pocket like that. I'm not going to cut it, I'm going to try ripping it, and I'm going to use my ruler for this. There we go. I'm going to glue this pocket down now, but I have just ripped off another little portion of this decorative paper from this scrap that I tore off before, and as much as I love that 7 on there, this is quite a big piece, and I just want another touch of that colour there because I don't have much there, but at least I've got that corner and that corner balanced out and it will match that. So I'm just going to glue this little bit onto there, onto there. Something and nothing, but I just think it will balance it out a little bit better. And now I'm going to put some glue on here and glue it down. And again, I've gone slightly inside my stitching she says. I'm just going to give that a good burnish. So that's where we've got to so far. I need to have something to go inside my 3 pockets, so I'm going to hunt out some images now and make some little journaling cards just to tuck in those pockets. To finish off my piece, I have just put a little piece of book text on the front here. That stamp had a black mark left from the franking, so I just wanted to cover that up a little bit. And then if I open it up, I've also tried to match it up inside with some more book text and just some old book pages behind, just to blend it in a little bit. And I've also made 3 cards to go inside the pockets. So this is the first one. All of them I've just layered up vintage book pages. So there's about 3 or 4 layers. This one is not quite dry, as you can see. I've got a few wrinkles there, but those will soon go. And I've done a little bit of stitching around the images and then layered up some pieces for the labels. And I've used some of that pink voile ruffle to put a little bit of a frou-frou at the top. So that's the first one. This is the second one, and again exactly the same. That's what it looks like on the back. This one I've just put a couple of journaling spots inside, and this folds down, and just layered up a couple of labels there. So that's that one. And then this is the last one, and again they've all got this voile on the top, and I've just layered a piece of book page and one of the Tim Holtz labels there, and that's what this one looks like on the back. So these slot into the 3 pockets like so. So that's the first one, and then this is the second one, and then this is the third one. So my piece looks like this now that it's finished. Just push that one down a little bit so it opens up like that, and I've just rolled down the edges of the torn entrance to the pockets, just so that you can see the girls' faces or the ladies' faces. And then we've got this collaging on either side, and as you know, they're pockets, nothing in those. And then I've used that voile ruffle to create a belly band for my piece, and I chopped down, let me get this on first and then I can show you. There we go, just slips on. I chopped down this edge and this edge, the pleated edge, and then I went in with my tweezers and I just distressed the edge of the 2 center lines and then folded one over the other to give a sort of staggering layer to it. I wanted to show off this pleated layer because it reminds me of the ruffles that all 3 of these girls are wearing in the tags that I've made, and that's what it looks like on the back. And I've already written 49 ruffle, which is our prompt for this one. So there we go, everybody. I hope you like this one. I have to say, I do. I'm surprised at how much I do like this one. I wasn't sure about putting these pieces at the top, but I just felt that this on its own wasn't quite right. So thank you so much for watching, everybody, and I hope you'll join me for the next and last guest check, number 50. Yay! We're almost there, everybody. So please join me for the next one, and until then, until the next video, take care. Bye bye now.